Hi friends, hope all of you are doing well. Welcome to my channel Amazing World of Archie. The wait is over. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Diper Överlöde, the book 17 of the Wimpy Kid series by Jeff Kinney is here. And I am back with another video to share the first look at the book Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Diper Överlöde, the book 17 of the Wimpy Kid series. So keep watching. Before I begin, don't forget to hit a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you are new to my channel. So without further delay, let's begin. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Diper Överlöde by Jeff Kinney. December, Monday. I always thought I wanted to be rich and famous, but now I'm starting to wonder if fame and fortune are worth all the hassle. I'm sure it would be great to be a celebrity, because it would be nice to get the rock star treatment and see your name in lights. But there's only so much attention one person can take, and I bet that kind of thing would get kind of old after a while. If you're famous, you can't just turn it off whenever it's inconvenient, and it wouldn't be much fun getting mobbed for autographs and selfies all the time. When you're a celebrity, you can't even take care of your personal business without everyone finding out and posting about it on social media. And when you're out in public, someone's bound to snap a picture of you when you're not looking your best. On top of that, everyone feels like they have the right to know all the details about your personal relationships, which can't be a lot of fun either. Speaking of relationships, when you're a celebrity, you never know who you can trust, because even the people closest to you will be happy to air your dirty laundry if the price is right. The celebrities who have it the worst are former child stars, because after they grow up and fall out of the spotlight, they have to learn how to live like regular people. And I'm sure it's no fun being someone who used to be famous. People recognize former child stars even after they've become adults, and I'd like to be able to enjoy a meal with my family in public without getting hassled by fans later on. Say Zooey Mama, say it. That wasn't even me. Don't get me wrong, it would be nice to have mansions and expensive cars and all the other stuff that comes with being famous. I just won't want to deal with the downside of fame. That's why it would be awesome to be friends with someone who's famous. Then you'd get all the perks of being a celebrity without any of the negatives. Famous people are always traveling the world and going on fancy vacations, and I could definitely see myself getting used to that kind of lifestyle, especially if I wasn't the one paying. Plus, if you're friends with someone who has more money than you can always count on them to pick up the tab. Does this steak look medium rare to you? And if you and your famous friend ever have a falling out, it won't be the end of the world, because people will pay good money for juicy celebrity gossip. The only problem with my plan is that I don't have any friends or on track to become famous, and even though I've tried to encourage my friend Rowley to start making a name for himself, he just doesn't seem all that interested. So I've decided that what would be even better than being friends with the celebrities being related to one. Because you know your Christmas presents are going to be way nicer if you've got a rich person in the family. My older brother, Rodrick, actually has big plans to become a famous musician. But I just don't know how realistic it is to be successful when your band's name is Löded Diper. Aside from the name, Löded Diper has a few obstacles standing in their way. The first one is that they still practice in our basement, even though my parents probably wish they didn't. We're leaking through your speakers like a chocolate cow. On top of that, Löded Diper hasn't played an actual show in more than a year, and the only member of the band who's not in high school is the lead singer Bill, but he's 35 years old and lives in his grandma's basement. Even with all that, Rodrick still thinks Löded Diper can make it to the big time, and he's come up with a plan for how they can do it. There's a competition called the Battle of the Bands that's held every year, and Rodrick thinks if Löded Diper works hard to get ready, they can actually win it. Rodrick's favorite band, Metal Chihuahua, won the Battle of the Bands when they were just starting out. I'm not a big fan of that kind of music, and the only reason I've even heard of Metal Chihuahua is because Rodrick's bedroom is plastered with their posters. Rodrick says the Battle of the Bands competition launched Metal Chihuahua's career, and afterward they were on the cover of every magazine. Metal Chihuahua broke up before Rodrick got a chance to see them play, so everything he knows about them is from magazine articles and old concert footage. But when Bill was 10 years old, his grandma took him to see Metal Chihuahua on their last tour, and he's always bragging about it to Rodrick. In fact, sometimes Bill still wears the t-shirt he got from the concert, even though he probably shouldn't. I have no idea if it's realistic for Löded Diper to win this competition or not. But if Rodrick's band actually goes on to fame and fortune, I'm gonna be the one to tell their story. Because if I have to suffer through Löded Diper's band practices, I figure I might as well get something out of it. Wednesday. Rodrick told his bandmates that one of the reasons Metal Chihuahua got people to take them seriously early on was because whenever they were out in public, they looked like they were already famous. He said the first step in making people think you're a rock star is to dress like one. So the other night, the guys went to the mall to buy some cool outfits, but they found out that trendy clothes are really expensive and that ripped jeans cost twice as much as brand new ones, so they left without buying anything. They came back to our house and ripped their own jeans, but when Mom found them piled up in Rodrick's room, she put patches on the holes, and I'm pretty sure she ironed them too. After that, the guys went to the Goodwill store, where you can get used clothes pretty cheap, and Bill put together an outfit that he thought made him look like the lead singer of a rock band. But it turned out that half the clothes Bill bought had been donated to the store by his grandma, so she made him turn right around and return them. Then Mackie had an idea. He said they could just buy rockstar costumes because the Halloween outlet near us was having an after-season clearance sale, and everybody agreed that seemed like a smart plan. But the costumes didn't look anything like they did on the packaging. They were more like plastic aprons than cool outfits, and the guitars were miniature inflatables. If the guys ever go out in public wearing those plastic aprons, I really hope Bill wears some pants underneath, because those costumes only cover the front. Thursday. Rodrick says that every serious band gets professional photos taken so they can use them on posters and album covers. But it turns out professional photographers are expensive, so Rodrick's been looking into other options. The option he settled on was asking Mom to take the pictures because she offered to do it for free. So they spent the afternoon doing a photo shoot in our backyard. But it was hard to get a shot where there wasn't a fence or a swing set in the background. After a while, they ditched their costumes and just tried using the stuff around them. But they ended up with a bunch of pictures they're probably not gonna use. Mom said the guys looked too serious in all the pictures, and music was supposed to be fun. So she got them to lighten up a little, but I don't think the guys are gonna like the way those photos came out either. Eventually it got too cold out and the guys moved inside. Mom had other things to do, so I got put on photographer duty. Rodrick wanted to get a few photos that would really tell people what Löded Diper is all about, which is how we ended up in the bathroom. But Drew and Mackie started messing around, and Drew ended up with the toilet plunger stuck to his back. The guys were about to go to the emergency room, but then Rodrick remembered that one of our neighbors is a plumber. After that, the guys looked through all the photos, but they didn't think they looked professional enough. Mackie remembered that there was a photo studio at the mall that could probably do this kind of thing pretty cheap. Everybody liked that idea, so they pulled into Rodrick's van and headed to the mall. But what Mackie forgot was that the photography place at the mall was a baby studio. I guess the studio isn't choosy about whose pictures they take, though, and they had the guys in front of the camera in no time. It took a little while for them to warm up to the photographer, but apparently this lady was really good at making her subjects feel comfortable. I see that smile, Gucci Gucci Goo, hee hee, rattle rattle. The session lasted an hour and the photographer took a ton of pictures, but I don't see any of those photos making their way onto Löded Diper's posters either. I guess the guys still wanted their pictures though. It was cheaper to order a calendar than to buy individual photos, so that's the package they went with. Mom's already using it as our family calendar, so I guess that means we've got 12 months of Löded Diper to look forward to. Sunday. Rodrick thinks the only way for Löded Diper to win the Battle of the Bands competition is to play a bunch of shows and keep improving. But right now, they don't have a good way of getting around. A few weeks back, Rodrick's van got rear-ended by someone and now he can't open the back doors. That means it's practically impossible to load all the band's equipment into the van. Rodrick looked into getting the doors replaced, but he found out it would cost more to get new ones than the van is actually worth. But then the guy saw an ad for a contest that a local car dealership was having called hands on a van, where the person who can keep at least one hand on a brand new van the longest gets to keep it. So they decided this was the answer to their transportation problems. Rodrick and the other guys spent a lot of time debating which one of them should enter the contest to win that van. But Mackie said that if they all entered the competition, they'd have 4 times the chances of winning it. The contest started on Friday night. I think the guys were planning on this thing lasting a few hours, and when it was over, they drove off in their new van. But that's not how it played out. When they got to the dealership, there was a huge crowd. And even though the contest hadn't officially started, people were already in position. Once the competition got going, the rule was that if you took your hand off the van for even a second, you'd be out. That meant there was no potty breaks, and 30 minutes into the competition, Drew was already wishing he hadn't just downed a 2-liter soda. Drew was the first person to drop out, but a long time went by before anyone else did, and 3 hours later everyone was still going strong. A lot of contestants had packed coolers with food, because they must have known they were in for a long night. But Rodrick and the other guys weren't prepared, so Rodrick called Mom and asked her to bring them sandwiches. Mom was too busy to drive down to the dealership, so she sent me on my bike, and when I got there, I handed the guys their food. Bill was paranoid that he was going to accidentally take his hand off the van, so he kept both hands on the vehicle, and that meant I had to feed him, which was kind of awkward. I stuck around for a little while, but it was pretty boring watching a bunch of people standing there doing nothing, so I went home. But in the morning, Rodrick's van wasn't in the garage, which meant he was still at the dealership. Mom sent me back down there with bagels and orange juice, and even though a lot of contestants had quit overnight, there was a handful of people still in it, but some of them looked like they're ready to crack. A few contestants started playing mind games to psych each other out. One lady began singing really loud and out of tune, and some old guy opened up a can of what smelled like expired tuna. Another guy started reading the phone book from the beginning to annoy everyone else. And I guess that was too much for Mackie, because he lost his nerve before the guy even got through the B's. Tweet! Briggs, Lisa Brighton, James Brinker, Eli. It was pretty clear that sleep deprivation was taking its toll on everyone, and one lady got eliminated for trying to pet a dog that wasn't even there. Who's my good little boy? Oh, yes, you are. Tweet! A few hours later, there were only a few people left. Bill and Rodrick seemed like they might fall over at any second, and they were up against a lady who looked like she could easily go another 2 days. And I think the guys were seriously considering giving up at that point. But the lady was watching some game show on her TV, and when she got a question right, she lost her focus just long enough to get eliminated. Woohoo! I thought that was the end of the contest, but it wasn't, because Bill and Rodrick got into an argument over which one of them should actually win the van. Rodrick said it should be him because all the band equipment was at his house, but Bill said it should be him because he'd never had his own vehicle before. And those 2 guys are more stubborn than I realized, because neither one of them budged for 2 whole hours. Around 10 o'clock that night, Rodrick came up with a compromise. He said that they could share the vehicle, and whenever the band didn't need the van for a show, Bill could use it. Bill said he was okay with that, so they took their hands off the van at the same time and shook on it. But they probably should have checked to make sure no one was on the other side of the vehicle before they let go, because I'm pretty sure the guy who ended up winning was only a few minutes away from throwing in the towel himself. Tweet! Tuesday. After the Hands on a Van contest, Rodrick and his bandmates realized they weren't going to be playing shows anytime soon, so they've been brainstorming other ways to get their music out there. They decided what they needed to do was post a bunch of stuff on social media and build a following that way. So they created an account and started posting clips of them playing music in our basement. Löded Diper for Real posted 2 photos. Those first posts didn't get many views, so they decided to shake things up by filming in more interesting places. But those videos didn't take off either. Then the other day, Bill dropped a speaker on his foot and Mackie was filming when it happened. They posted that video as a joke and it was their most popular one yet. Then they started posting a lot more stuff like that and their channel really took off. Whoa! But after a few trips to the emergency room, the guys realized things had got out of control, and even though they had a ton of likes, they weren't getting their music out there, which was the whole point to begin with. So the guys went back to just posting clips of them playing music, and they lost a ton of followers. And after a while, they even gave that up because it wasn't worth the hassle. Susan Heffley mom, too loud tonight, guys. Manny is sleeping. Also, please pick up those pizza boxes or we will get ants. Wednesday. Rodrick decided that Löded Diper should forget about filming clips for social media and focus on making a real music video instead. So the guys have been watching all of Metal Chihuahua's early videos and they decided the best one was for the song Dog Eat Dog, which they filmed at a kennel with real chihuahuas. The reason that video is so famous is because nobody fed the dogs before the shoot started, and as soon as they opened the cages, the dogs went after the lead guitarist, who was snacking on a ham and cheese sandwich. Scream! Yip yip, yip yip. Rodrick and the guys spent a lot of time talking about what they could do in their own music video to top Metal Chihuahua. Drew said maybe they could shoot a video in the sewers, but they couldn't figure out how to get Rodrick's drums down the manhole. Mackie suggested they film their song Monkey House in a real monkey house at the zoo, but they were a little worried the monkeys might act up. Then Bill said they should do a video where they parachuted out of a plane, and Rodrick liked that idea because he said it would get people's attention. But Mackie had a fear of heights, so he vetoed that one. Drew said that maybe they could do what Metal Chihuahua did for the Dog Eat Dog video, only with the babies. And everyone seemed to like that idea because they couldn't remember anyone doing something like it before. But it turns out you can't just borrow a bunch of babies for a few hours, or at least you can't in the state where we live. The guys realized they were getting a little ahead of themselves anyway, because they needed to record a song before they could start thinking about making a music video to go along with it. Löded Diper has recorded some of their music before, but they've never actually used professional equipment to do it. Last year they taped a bunch of stuff on Manny's toy tape recorder, but I guess the playback quality isn't great on those things. And anyway, Mommy erased everything they recorded after she got a call from the teacher at Manny's preschool. Your arms are waving as you get on your feet. Your booty swaying like you ate some bad meat. Rodrick said it was time to do things the right way and record their music in a real studio. But just like everything else, those types of places cost a lot of money. So Bill asked his grandma if he could be a few months late with the rent, which gave the guys just enough money to pay for some time in a recording studio. And even though they only needed one song to make a music video, they decided to record enough songs for a whole album. Rodrick says that when Little Chihuahua was big, bands used to put out albums with the cool artwork on the record covers, and he's got a few of their best albums on the wall above his bed. Rodrick says that nowadays people don't appreciate album art because they just download music on their phones. His plan is to release Löded Diper's first album as a vinyl record so the art can be really big. Löded Diper, out of the crib. Rodrick and his bandmates went to a recording studio downtown today, and I decided to tag along. There was one room where the engineer had a bunch of computers and another room with lots of instruments and microphones. I guess the guys were pretty excited about all the different instruments because as soon as they saw them, they had to play every one. Eventually, Rodrick said it was time for them to get serious. I thought they'd start recording songs right away, but they hadn't even decided which ones to put on their album yet. And if you ask me, they probably should have figured that out before they got to the studio. It turns out Löded Diper has over 50 songs, and they spent a lot of time trying to whittle it down to the 10 they wanted to record. And I've no idea what made them choose some songs over others, because from the titles it felt like they were all about the same kind of stuff. Songs: One Wiper, Can You Smell Us Now? Diaper Igniter, Potty Mouth, Down the Drain, Monkey House, Raise a Stink, Smell Test, Stink It Up. That's it for this time. Hope you enjoyed the first look at the book. Get your copy of The Diary of a Wimpy Kid soon, and stay tuned to my channel for updates on the popular books. Bye for now.